Thank you. I'm nervous. Nervous. Hot. No, this game is not over. In fact, we're just getting going right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM, streaming live, KYOKradio.org, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitter today, because I've got special guests that are going to be in studio with me today, and I want everybody to see them. I wanted everyone to see them. So listen, been working on camera angles, been working on mics and all of that, trying to get ready for today's show. So listen, y'all, I rarely ask for this, but pray for me today, because I want this one to go as well as it could possibly go. I needed to. Again, got some very special guests that will be on the show today. And just hang on tight. I got confirmation they're on their way in. But man, before they get here, let's talk about, can we talk about last night real quick? Can we talk about last night real quick? I kind of almost sort of feel bad for Urban Meyer, Trevor Lawrence, and the Jacksonville Jaguar family, Duval, and all that. No, that ain't how it goes. Duval. I like all the extracurricular stuff, but team, you gotta win. And they've now lost 19 in a row, tying the Detroit Lions for longest string of losses in is it the modern era? I know Tampa Bay lost a bunch of games. I know way back when somebody lost, 26, 29, something crazy. But, man, even when Jacksonville went up by double digits, I tweeted it out. I said, I may be wrong, but I feel like Jacksonville's going to blow this one. And what do you know? The second half was a tale of two different stories. Second half, whatever Jacksonville did right, Cincinnati did better. And I got to give a lot of credit to the young quarterback out of LSU by way of the Ohio State University. Joe Burrow got the job done. Didn't get rattled, didn't get nervous, didn't try to do too much. Just got the ball to his playmakers, and they were able to pull it out. But I got to say this, Trevor Lawrence played a lot better last night than he has all year long. I believe that was his best game of the year. I even said Trevor Lawrence was in his bag last night. Running the ball, throwing the ball, making decisions with the ball. Trevor Lawrence was in his bag last night. And I wasn't sure, I had to check for myself if Urban Meyer was calling the offense last night, because he called a pretty good doggone game, but it wasn't him. Darren Bevel Used to be with Seattle. He's the offensive coordinator, and he put the young man in position to win the game last night. They just couldn't do it. Just couldn't get the job done. And now Jacksonville is in NFL futility. I mean, you can't lose many more ways than that. You're up by double digits. You got to learn how to close that thing out. And last night they could not get it done. So Cincinnati 3-1. Now I haven't done it yet, and I'm not ready to do it. I'm talking with my people, and they'll let me know if I need to do it. I might have to pen an apology to head coach Zach Taylor. I might have to pen an apology. They're 3-1. I can't remember when Cincinnati was 3-1. I'm from Cincinnati, Forest Park, Ohio. Stand up and say something. FP for life. School's not even there anymore. Forest Park High School, not even there. No. Green Hills High School, not even there anymore, I don't think. Winton Woods now. They done won state championships and all that since I was gone. But I got a brick on the ground with my name on it, so don't let the smooth taste fool you. But anyway, I digress. I got caught up on myself. I don't remember the last time Cincinnati was 3-1. And before Texan fans start trying to jump in on this, man, Cincinnati's been to 2 Super Bowls. Houston Texans. Now, I ain't gonna talk bad about the Oilers, and you'll see why in a little bit. The Houston Texans, I don't get in on this. Leave this alone. If your team hadn't at least been to a Super Bowl, hey, L-Dub, they can't get in on this if their team ain't smelt. The only way they went to a Super Bowl is when they got tickets. Zach Taylor might be turning this team around, got them on the right track. I might owe him an apology. Not yet. It's too early. He got a lot of football left. We look at their schedule because everybody's got Cincinnati pinned into they're in the top spot in the AFC North. What in the world? You're in a division with Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Baltimore, and you number one? You better, I'd hang a banner right now. First 4 game champions of the AFC North is what I'd hang up in the rafters right now. I know, y'all leave me alone. I know I got people on Twitter like, who's this nutbag? He crazy. I am. All right, so Cincinnati's riding a nice little 2-game win streak. They beat the Vikings in week 1, which we now know, was a quality win. They lost to the Bears. I'm still trying to figure out how they lost to the Bears. Bears defense ain't bad, but everything else is horrible. Then they beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, and any day of the week that Cincinnati beats Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh is a big win. Trust me, there's history there. You don't know about it. All right, 24-10, they got that one. And then they came back and walked Jacksonville down last night, 24-21. Oh, yeah, it gets real after this. They host Green Bay on Fox on September the 10th. That's going to be real. They go to Detroit. I'm not worried about Detroit yet. I know they're tougher. I know they're biting people on the kneecaps and the toes and the earlobes and all that. But, yeah, you're winless. And then they go to Baltimore. Tough game. At the Jets, they can win that one. Cleveland comes to Cincinnati, and even when Cincinnati's bad or when Cleveland was bad, you throw the records out because that is an in-state north-south rivalry. I got family up in Cleveland, Shaker Heights, go on and do your stuff. We don't get along. We rarely even speak. Last time I saw them was at some funeral. I mean, that's just how, bad Cleveland and Cincinnati are as far as football goes. L-Dub, man, they kicked the field goal in the last minutes before halftime. They changed the outcome of the game. Cincinnati is in a panic position. My thoughts. Cincinnati is or Jacksonville? Cincinnati should be in a panic position. Zach Taylor should be coaching for his life. He should be on the hot seat. You got the number 1 quarterback in the draft from a year ago. You got him hurt, had him running for his life. behind one of the worst offensive lines statistically in NFL. He should be playing for us. He should be coaching for us. He should be panicked. Now, Jacksonville, they need to figure it out too. I hate to do it, but I got to take a break. And then I'll come back. I'll look at the rest of the Cincinnati schedule. And then hopefully my special guest will be coming in real soon. Be right back right after this on the lunch break.
And here is your winning strategy. In my life, I've never allowed negative words that were spoken to contaminate the positive words I declare. You must understand, you cannot expect successful living with negative thinking. Sometimes we become worried, which eventually leads to us questioning ourselves, wondering, are we good enough? We also question God sometimes, wondering if this is where he wants us positioned, and is this what he's calling us to? I want you to understand that just because you don't notice anything happening in the natural, that doesn't mean God is not working in the spirit for you. If God has called you to it, he's going to carry you through it. Our God is waiting for that right moment to release you into the greater and the bigger success that he has for you.
What's up? This is Riley. And a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Chicken Club sandwich is the applewood bacon. It's savory and then it's also kind of sweet. And I think the combination of bacon with chicken and Colby Jack cheese, it just really knocks it out of the park.
Hey, I'm Tanea. A little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Chicken Club sandwich is the chicken. It's so juicy. It's grilled to perfection. I'm going to devour this sandwich.
Order the Grilled Chicken Club sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Junior Vice President of Communication Workers for America District 6. Trey and I are inviting you to listen in to our new political talk show, Power to the People Political Hours.
Hello, this is Trey Davis from the Davis Group. Yes, Bob, the show will be hard-hitting and informative, talking about national and local political issues of the day, week, and month. Interviews will be with pastors, community leaders, elected officials, and political operatives. You know, Clyde, a part of our responsibility is informing the citizenry and give them power to the people.
That's right, Trey. We're asking that you listen in on 1140 a.m., 92.3, or streaming on KYOKradio.org, Thursdays at 10 a.m.
All right, hey, listen, real quick. I'm going to be a special guest on Power to the People, political talk show with Claude Cummings and his host, and I'm excited about that. That'll be this coming Thursday, 10 a.m., right here on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. Now, I will be in a different role than I am. It won't be AJ from the lunch break. It'll be Pastor Jones from South Park and Sunnyside, where they are trying to redistrict our area. Let me say it right. Gerrymander our area and phase out Congressman Al Green and put it all under Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. I'll be on the show on Thursday. Be sure and tune in for that, and you'll hear my unfiltered thoughts and what we plan to do in the community to stop that gerrymandering from going on. Can't wait in my Bart Scott voice. All right, we're back here on the lunch break. It is Freestyle Friday. You know, we talk about all kinds of stuff, but I'm talking about the Cincinnati Bengals right now. L-Dub, if you want to call in, go ahead and hit me up. I'll take you, 281-453-1000, 281-453-1000. L-Dub is saying that the Bengals are playing in a panic mode, in his opinion. No, hey, listen, I don't disagree with you. In fact, I think they should be playing in a panic mode. Cincinnati is another one of those towns, as quietly as it's kept, that fired a head coach that got them to not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 straight playoffs Now, they didn't win nothing, but they still got there. So, yeah, Zach Taylor better be coaching in a panic mode. Hello, you're live on the lunch break. Who's this?
Brother, how you doing?
Hey, man, I'm doing great, man. I got a special guest coming in here today. And, bruh, we going to go back down memory lane. Well, I can't tell you everything, because if I told you everything, then you might know too much.
But now, me and last night, I was saying, at halftime, it was almost 20, 30 some seconds before halftime, we had an option, 4th and 1 to go for it or kick the field goal.
Yeah.
You go and kick the field goal, it's a 3-possession game. Anybody coming out at halftime with a 3-possession game got a different anxiety level than they do from a 2-possession game. And it makes the offense of Cincinnati get in a rush situation as opposed to still saying, I'm only down by 2, I can score 2 points.
Two touchdowns, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, now, we got to, a lot of folks don't want to say this, but I ain't scared. Urban Meyer is a rookie head coach in the NFL. He's a man in college, or one of the men, but in the NFL, he's greener than the grass, Doc. So, yeah, that was a rookie mistake. That was a rookie mistake.
It was worse than that because you always told them never take points off the board. If you get a chance to put points on the board, put points on the board. I mean, that's the first rule of coaching. If you can get points, take the points.
Yeah. Well, anytime you got a rookie quarterback, you a rookie head coach, like you said, you got to put points on the board, man. You keep putting you get all gas, no brakes. All gas, no brakes. You don't let up. And they messed around and let up, and Cincinnati caught up and passed them. And here we are. Now Jacksonville has lost 19 consecutive games. That's crazy, man.
Right?
Yeah, it's hard to do that.
And this is the type of loss that makes you spiral into a 4-game losing streak. Because, you got bickering that, you never hear people talk about. You got bickering about the decision that was made, bickering about, who's not running the right routes, you pass into one person too much, you're doing this. Everything comes out of the closet when you're losing, man. It's like, when you're winning, you put a crossover on the dirt. When you're losing, everybody sees all your dirt.
Yeah. Hey, man, and real quick, my guests are coming in, and I'm about to shout. I'm about to go, I know he's all right. The next 4 games for the Jaguars are going to be tough. They got the Tennessee Titans. The Miami Dolphins are no pushover. Then they go to Seattle, and then they got Buffalo at home. And, oh, yeah, by the way, they got to go to the Colts, and then they got the 49ers. And then 2 weeks after that, they got the Rams. It's going to be a tough year in Jacksonville. I ain't hating on Urban Meyer, but welcome to the NFL, old man. Can't call him a young man. Welcome to the NFL. And that's why you can't take no chances with these games, man. You gotta get them while you got them. And he had them last night, and I just didn't feel comfortable for him. And I said early on, I feel like, I could be wrong, but I doubt it, but I feel like they're gonna blow this one, and they did.
After halftime, I was with a friend of mine, a high school buddy of mine. We were watching the game, and I told him, don't get happy, because they're up now. Just telling me, this match is gonna come out the first half. Score real quickly. Now it's a new ball game. And there again, Cincinnati team is more experienced, with the group they have, and the Jacksonville team is. And I'm telling you, it's going to come down that they're going to lose the game by the margin of the field goal. Sure enough, they lost the game
by the margin of that field goal. L-Dub, that's why you make them big bucks, bro. That's why people put their future in your hands, man. Look, if I could ball, you'd be my manager, my agent. Hey, listen. Well, look, I'm a budding actor, and I got some big things in the works. So once my stuff jump off, I need you, bro. I need you to start negotiating my stuff.
Hey, we can talk about it.
Don't play with me, man. I'll mess around and be on your phone before I get off the show. L-Dub is me.
Hey, man.
Well, brother, I appreciate you, man. Tell everybody where they can find you and follow you. You got a new book out. You still rocking with the one you had.
Man, I was helping my sister. She has a new book out, so mine L-Dub Williams, Facebook. That's where I'm at on Facebook most of the time now, man.
Yeah, they say Facebook is for the old folk and Instagram and all that other stuff for them young people. So I stay on Facebook, man. I don't need to get hustled by some youngster.
Yeah, I don't really like Facebook sometimes, man.
Bruh, you and me both.
Yeah, it's like I don't know you, and I can't remember that far back now.
Yeah, listen, I got people want to be friends. I'm like, I don't know. It look like we ever knew each other. And just because I got friends that you got don't mean we can be friends. So, L-Dub, let me get off this phone, man. I got to go find my special guest. Brother, we'll talk soon, okay?
Thank you, brother.
All right, y'all. Y'all, that's L-Dub Williams, a good brother, very good brother. Got two amazing sons doing great things, is a phenomenal husband, and a brother who is just doing great things. He manages pro ballers and, was a baller himself. So when he says, man, coach kind of dropped the ball on that one, I believe it. I believe him. Let me take a quick break. When we come back, I should have my special guest right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It is Freestyle Friday.
Check out OMG Tire Services and more. New and used tires, all the name brands you desire. Located at 3126 Tidwell, between 59 North and Jensen. Give them a call at 832-767-3211. Top-notch service from beginning to end. When you're done, get your car hand washed inside and out at OMG Tire Services and more. Located at 3126 Tidwell, between 59 North and Jensen. Call 832-767-3211. That's 832-767-3211. Conveniently located on the north side.
Hi, I'm Larry Scott. Join me Saturdays for great fun, interviews, music, and the latest news.
Well, my sister friends did that for me. All right, let me put y'all on. I got a separate camera for just y'all. There you go. There you go, and then you can see yourself in that. We were playing with it, and this is what we came up with, so we should be fine. Absolutely, absolutely. And this weather messed me up because I was gonna get some even nicer water for y'all. So we're grateful, and we got plenty. So if you want another bottle, let me know.
If you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, you're qualified to receive a free, no obligation consultation on how to get rid of that debt for good. Call the debt helpline now. We work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, customer cards.
Bro, I've been good, man. How about you?
One single call is
You
all
look
it
good, man.
I'm
I'm just trying to tell you. Look, don't play because I know people need you. Look, put you in a passing situation.
Yeah, no passing out. That's 800-958-2156.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Todd Delaney, and right now you're listening to the Lunch Break Sports Talk Show with AJ.
All right, y'all, listen to me. And I mean, listen to me. In fact, stop the music, Dre. Stop. That's Dr. Dre. He's going to be part of the halftime festivities with the Super Bowl this year, along with Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige. I'm going to start calling her Queen Mary J. Blige. I love me some her. And Kendrick Lamar. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie now. I've been a little tough on Jay-Z, but he knocked it out of the park with this one right here. Anytime he's got your namesake in the halftime of the Super Bowl, he's doing all right. But I gotta stop the music for a different reason. Every Friday, pretty much, we have none other than Dr. J, Jennifer Thibeaux on the show. And look, Keith Hennig got all excited. Dr. J! calm down, man, because she got a pit bull next to her. He gonna get you. You better leave her alone, Keith Hennig. It is none other than one of the fan favorites with the Love You Blue. It is Cris Dishman previously from the Houston Oilers. Cris, Dr. J, how y'all doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure being on here. I've been listening to you and hearing the show. It's my first time on here, so I'm excited to be on here.
We're glad to have you, man. And let me tell you, that young lady next to you has been knocking it out of the park, man. Folks get mad at me when she's not on Fridays. Like, oh, it's just you. Like, dang, man, for real. So, Dr. J, what's been going on? What's happening with you?
Oh, nothing much. You know what? Just out here trying to change the world one person at a time.
And I know you are.
And give back.
And give back. Now, Dr. J, I need you right in the tip of that mic because I want them to hear you clearly. And I sprayed them and everything. So everything is clean. So we obviously got a lot I wanted to talk about today. A lot been happening in the world of sports. And, you know, we got some folks who talking about these shots and stuff. I saw y'all come in with your mask. I see y'all put your good stuff in the water and make sure you kind of fighting immunities as much as possible. It's a different time than when you were an athlete, and Cris, when you played. What do you think about this environment that we're in right now where, you know, teams and cities are saying, hey, we want you to do this or you're not going to play?
Well, you know, we talk about this all the time because my big question has been to Cris, if you were playing right now, what would your decision have been? So I'm going to pass the mic.
Okay, look at y'all. Look at us pass the mic. Doc?
Well, me personally, I've got vaccinated, and I think everyone should get vaccinated. I think that's the right thing to do. Everyone said, oh, I don't know what's in it, but I'd rather have vaccination than the other choice.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally. For the guys who's not taking the vaccination, I think people have been selfish. They've been selfish. We're looking at them. You got to look at other people, what they have offered. But the NFL is giving you a choice. You don't have to take the vaccination. You just won't play. So it's your choice. And I think it's the right thing to do. You don't have to take it.
Right.
But you don't have to get paid also.
Well, that part. And the NBA followed that lead. They got with their players union and they said, you know, we're gonna fight the mandate, but if teams say that, you know, you got to have that shot to be able to play, or, you know, you got a whole different protocol, you'll be, you know, more testing and you'll be away from some of the other guys, and in some cities you won't be able to play. Wow. And you won't get paid.
Right.
Yeah, man, that changes things for me.
If someone gets COVID, you know, you can pass it on to 2 or 3 different other people.
Right.
And now you're messing up a whole group of people, not just yourself.
Yeah, and let's just say this out loud real quick because I know Bradley Beal. I'm not knocking him. I'm just repeating what he said. That people with vaccination still get COVID. I don't think anyone thought that vaccination meant immunity.
Right.
It doesn't. What it is it lessens the severity. You usually don't have hospitalization, and you rarely have death.
That's right.
And that's not the case with unvaccination.
I'll put it out there. It's something you did not know, AJ. When I was on one of the shows in August, is that I had COVID.
Wow.
At the time. So, and I'm vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
I had a breakthrough
Mm-hmm.
case.
Mm-hmm. That's what they call it, breakthrough case.
Breakthrough case, and I was not hospitalized because of it. Did I get sick? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it felt like a really bad flu.
Yeah.
And it wasn't fun on days, but I got through it. I was able to still work, thankfully, and do some of the things I enjoy. I sounded nasally and all those things, but that was about it. And I was thanking my lucky stars I had taken an action to reduce the severity. And that's the thing. I think we were all waiting for some super cure.
Mm-hmm.
So when the vaccination came out in our minds, we stopped hearing the part that said it would reduce the likelihood of death. And we heard that as being cured.
Right.
And so when you see these breakthrough cases, you say, oh, it's not doing its job. No, it's absolutely doing its job if you look at hospitalizations. Because the people in hospitals right now are largely, it's like 97%, I believe is the last stat I saw, are the unvaccinated that are being hospitalized who have, and that's the thing we want to avoid. You know, it's, when you look at children, they're vulnerable. When you look at elderly, they're vulnerable. My decision was, it's all personal. Like, we didn't pressure each other into the day that I take. It was all personal. And I just couldn't bear the fact that I could pass it on to someone's grandmother.
Yeah.
Somebody's grandfather.
Yeah.
Someone's sole provider.
Right.
I couldn't bear that fact. And I said, it's the vaccinations, to Chris's point, is not about just me. It's about helping our community.
Yeah, it is a community choice. It is a selfless choice. And we're not bashing folks who are unvaccinated, just kind of talking about it. I wanted to hear it from you all's standpoint, because you guys have both been, high-level athletes in your respective disciplines. And you just touched on something that's near and dear to my heart. One of my younger daughters got it, and all she could do was cry, "Daddy, I don't want COVID." And she's too young to get vaccinated. And it was just tough. It was tough. The closest I could get was a hallway and look through a door at my baby, and it was tough. And all I could do is want her to be okay. My older daughter, who's in high school, she got it, but she was able to get vaccinated. So, she even said, "I'm so glad that I was vaccinated, because this ain't nearly as bad as it probably would have been." So, my thoughts about it, because, you have a lot of people that are talking about it. And when LeBron James came out and said, "Hey, listen, this is what I've done, and this is why I did it," I think it really changed a lot, because the number jumped up of NBA players who then got vaccinated after that. Yeah. Cam Newton. I posed the question on Twitter. Are all 32 starting quarterbacks in the league vaccinated? Because everyone seems to keep saying that Cam Newton's vaccination status is part of why he's unsigned right now. Any thoughts on that?
No, I don't think it's the reason why Cam Newton's unsigned. I don't think no one, general managers don't look at nothing like that.
Okay.
They look at your ability to play, and number one is your ability to be how you fit into the locker room.
Right.
Now, every superstar fits into the locker room of that team.
Chris, say that, because we've had a lot of that here, where James Harden, was our superstar, and he left, and folks thought we were going to get another James Harden back, and Russell Westbrook and what have you, and then J.J. Watt. Not every superstar fits in everybody's locker room.
Right. It's all about the continuity of the locker room. It's all about guys getting along with each other. But sometimes the superstars can get too big for the team, and they may need to move to another team, and that's okay. It's just about the locker room, because those old linemen is going to block for the person you like. And that's how sports is.
Man, that you just said something right there. And folks don't think that kind of stuff happens, but they talk about the unwritten rules in baseball. In football, I remember a quarterback up in Chicago, I won't say his name, but he grabbed his lineman's face mask and all that, and it wasn't that lineman that had a problem, it was the team, the other line, his fraternity. And they let Mr. Cutler know, we're not doing that.
Well, like everything else, you gotta protect the person you like.
Yeah.
Protect the person you love. If you don't like that person, and you know that you can do away with him or do it without him, then you gotta do it.
Yeah. We got Cris Dishman joining us, formerly of Love You Blue, Houston Oilers. We got Dr. J back with us. We missed her last Friday, but look, she doubly made up for that today. She came in the studio and she brought gifts. So we're glad to have y'all in the studio. And again, man, I was glad to, I'm glad to hear your commentary on that. Because, man, if you got the general manager for the Pittsburgh Steelers number in your phone, can you call him real quick and ask him to at least work Cam out? I mean, when you're on a team and y'all got something, especially on defense, and you see the offense just not getting the job done, do you ever wonder if, are they trying? I mean, are they going to do something? I mean, what's the thought from that standpoint?
Well, no matter what, no matter in high school, college, or professional, the number one thing you need is a quarterback.
Right.
Right now I'm coaching high school, and I see that if the team don't have a quarterback, it's hard. The number one thing you need on the football team is a quarterback.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the general manager's not out there and say, they think they can get along with the quarterback they do have. So that's probably one of the reasons why Cam is not signed. He may be too much against the cap. So it's all kind of reasons it's falling into why he's not signed.
Yeah. Again, we got Cris Dishman, we got Dr. J. And as fans, a lot of us just look at it like, man, do they even want to win? And it's a lot more to it than just that.
cap space and everything else.
Yeah. When I look at a team like the Jets, and they've got a quarterback room that has a total of maybe 2 years of experience, you would think that a Cam Newton would fit there. When I look at the Bears and their quarterback room, you would think that a Cam Newton would fit there. And obviously Pittsburgh with Big Ben, you would think that a Cam Newton would fit there, but it's so much more to it than just that.
Yeah, and also is he a leader? You know, what type of leader he is? You know, he's a leader, he's going to lead it, he's going to be a locker room lawyer. They call those guys, you know, they're one of those locker room lawyers that always talk about himself and always worry about himself. Or he's going to be a leader to lead everybody down the right way, worrying about the team first, not about him first.
Gotcha.
So I don't know that as Cam Newton. I don't really know him like that.
Yeah.
So I can't talk on someone I don't know.
Gotcha. No, I appreciate your commentary, and I know Dr. J, you know, you probably look out there and see sometimes like, man, if that guy would come on, then you know the rest of the team would come on. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I do. You know, but like to Chris's point, there's a formula, and it's a formula that we don't see.
Yeah.
It's not a consistent formula. I would venture to say, when you agree that every team has a different way that they assess and evaluate what works for them, and that's where it becomes hard because you just threw out 2-3 teams, but they all look at it differently.
Yeah, exactly.
And so when we look at it one way, great talent sitting at home. Why is that? And that's why a person like Colin Kaepernick, we scratched our head because we thought Super Bowl quarterback.
One play away from winning the thing. But go ahead.
We thought Super Bowl quarterback. Why is he not being signed? And there's, you know, of course, a lot of speculation for that one. You know, but I will say, like a person like a Cris, I talk about you all the time, but a person like a Cris, you were what is called team rep.
Yes, I was team rep.
Team rep for 3 years with the Oilers. Right. So that's a different kind of player, right? It's a different kind of leader because the team rep, you're constantly looking for how do we make this ecosystem better. That's a person a team probably really likes because now if the team can work with the Cris, then they know that they also have some level of understanding of the entire team. So I just think there's so many dynamics in play. It's just hard for you to see a person who's physically talented enough to be out there, but it's the other factors.
Yeah. I like it. Dr. J, Cris Dishman joining us here. Freestyle Friday on the lunch break. I know y'all probably have questions. In fact, I kind of dropped a couple of people that you were coming in, and this has been the overwhelming question. And Cris, we love you. So, you know, the Oilers packed up and moved out of Houston and moved down to Tennessee. It's not the first time that has happened.
Right.
You know, we know that Cleveland became another team, the Colts, you know, became another team, but they all got their teams back, but they kept their history. And boy, Mr. Adams must have been mad at Houston because he took the team, he took the history, he took the logos. I dare say he took the doormat when they pulled off that joker. Why do you feel about that your history was here, but it is now with a whole different organization?
Well, it's bittersweet with that because I was one of the fortunate players where my contract was up and Houston decided to move to Tennessee. And I did not go. I went and played for another team.
Right.
Because I felt like I was backstabbing the people of Houston. So that's why I went and played for Washington. You know, I had a chance to go down there and play for Tennessee. It was actually getting close with my mom and dad and see me play and stuff like that. I have a sister that lived there in Nashville.
Okay.
So I had ties there where I could actually been good, but I felt like I was backstabbing the city of Houston by going and playing for Nashville Oilers or whatever they was called at the time. So that's why I was one of the fortunate players when my contract was up and I went to sign with another team. You know, it's sometimes it's like in the life itself. Sometimes people get in their personal battles with each other, and everyone else has to suffer. And I think with the mayor at the time, Mr. Adams at the time, got into their little personal battles with each other and said, "Oh, I'm not going to build this stadium because it's for you, but it's not really for him, it's for the city itself."
For the community.
And now you see 5 years without football, now we actually got a big stadium, the Texans are here, you know, everything's great.
Could have been done back then.
It could have been done
back then.
It had to be done.
Yeah.
It had to be done. All the stadiums are getting older and stuff like that. You have to be able to evolve with the times.
Right.
And the times was all about getting stuff new.
Right.
New stadium, bigger stadium. You could have so many Super Bowls here within those 5 years.
That's true.
and will help the economy of Houston. Right. You know, we saw that as players, but the two people who had the decision making didn't see that, and that's unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate because we see other cities do their throwbacks and they honor their, you know, their veteran players and what have you. And instead of a Cris Dishman walking out on the 50-yard line of the stadium here in Houston and getting inducted into the Ring of Honor, and while the Texans are wearing the old Oilers throwback jerseys and what have you, that's all going down in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm sorry, Nashville didn't cry for y'all like we cried for y'all. And I'm not going to bring it up today. I said this is going to be the first interview he has where he does not have to answer any questions about that day. Nashville didn't cry like we cried.
No.
They don't deserve none of that throwback. And Nashville, you know I love y'all. You know I love y'all. Y'all got good food, good music, and y'all ain't too far from my town, Cincinnati, Ohio. But y'all deserve none of that. So, I mean, I just wondered how you felt about that.
Yeah, it's, like I said, it's unfortunate that it happened. But like I said, when two people get into a personal battle, other people have to suffer because of their personal battle.
Listen, man, we needed to do. I know, you know, Mr. Adams has gone on to be, you know, with the Lord, but man, we need to find a way to remedy that. And the owners of the Titans right now are like not trying to give up nothing, because I saw Mr. Adams' daughter made a post about, oh, that's cute, ain't gonna happen though. You know what? Ouch. That hurt. We got to take a break. We'll be right back with Cris Dishman and Dr. J. Dr. J, I got a question for you. We'll be right back with that. If you want to get in, 281-453-1000. That's 281-453-1000. Y'all can definitely text me, 832-403-5005. Eminem said Cris looks like he can ball right now. I bet you he can. I bet you he can. All right, y'all. We'll be right back. It's Freestyle Friday on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day.
Man, listen, I messed around and said, the next time I'm out, you can, you know, you and Liz can run the show. I got people saying, when you gonna be off, Doc? What, can we pay you to be off? I'm like, man, what is the word? You and Liz, you and Cris, however y'all want to do it. However y'all want to do it.
Protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now. 800.
How's she doing?
800-561-98.
What's happening this year? She in or no? I love it. Let's get it. Man, I can't wait. Now, like, so I'll ask her there, but like, what does she work on off season? What does off season look like for a D1 college basketball player? And Cris, you talk about that with the IMG kids. What do y'all have them work on to get ready for that? Because, you know, down here we got a lot of players dealing with that. Houston is still a hotbed on almost all sports.
You know, the data already from the Victory Medical can easily ship this monitoring device directly to your home at little or no cost to you. If you have high blood pressure or diabetes and you're covered by Medicare, make this free call right now to see if you qualify for a new remote patient monitoring device. Call 800-213-9527.
And like quickly, like he got there.
If you don't want it anymore, we can buy it from you within 24 hours. Any home size or condition. For over 20 years, we've been buying homes for cash and helping homeowners sell their homes immediately.
And he came with that culture, he came with that, you know, and they are winning games this year as opposed to getting blown out like they did in the past. So I said that comes from that Marshall tree right now. A lot of them didn't know who he was and where he came from. He came from Parker Marshall. Y'all gonna be all right. Y'all gonna be all right. Give it time. Y'all be patient with him.
Now, call the expert team at I Need to Sell My House Fast. Make this free call now. 306-176.
One thing I've seen more than anything is the kids' attitude on the sidelines have changed. They don't have that defeated attitude. Something happens, they got that. Let's go back and get that. And yeah, it's a big difference.
306-1760.
This is Brian Courtney Wilson, and you're listening to the Lunch Break.
All right, y'all. We're back here on the Lunch Break, Freestyle Friday on the legendary KYOK. Y'all do 92.3 FM. Y'all, we just got ear hustle. I forgot to mute the mics while we were on the break. Somebody had the nerve. We were talking about Fort Bend Marshall, talking about Willow Ridge. Somebody had the nerve to say Hightower better be in that convo. You know what I mean? It's like, how you gonna ear hustle us and just interject in your team? And one of my homeboys is running the defense over there, if I'm not mistaken, Cornelius Anthony from A&M. And so, you know, I got to give love to Hightower. So, you know, but don't be ear hustling, L-Dub. So, but anyway, again, we got Cris Dishman, we got Dr. J with us in studio, and I'm so grateful for y'all making time, especially on such a crazy weather day like today. But we were talking about on the break, you know, your daughter, Queen Liz, is over at Pacific, and she is a D1 basketball player, and she's excited about the season getting started. What did she work on in the off season? By herself, not coaches say do this, do that, but by herself. What did she work on in the off season to get ready for this upcoming season?
Right, so that's a great question. So Liz always does strength and conditioning, and while they did provide it, she wanted to strengthen some of the areas for herself, her legs, some arm strength. So she got in the weight room, but really, the trainer for Liz is sitting next to her.
I can see it.
Those two would get in the gym, like they were fanatics, like what, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning.
I don't miss it.
And Liz was shooting constantly. She really wanted to really focus on her shot. She's got a great shot, so it's just continuing to just improve her shot. And so they had these crazy, I call them crazy drills. I got fired as the rebounder. Apparently gymnasts don't make good rebounders. And so that's okay. I still love my baby.
Dr. J, how many times have you gotten fired since Liz has been balling?
Several times. She crossed me up once at a 24-hour fitness, and I took a couple of stumbles. I did not fall.
She didn't break your ankles.
She did not break my ankles, but I said, this is the last time that I allow my baby that I will be her defender. So her and Cris were just, they were fanatics on shooting more than anything else. And then they had their own strength and conditioning program that just kind of went above and beyond what the staff, because the staff will always send you things to actually do, but she was pinpointing for herself, and she's had great programs leading up to that, so she knew what she needed to do.
That's outstanding. I love hearing that, because a lot of times, you know, I hear parents say, oh, that boy just been laying on the sofa, he ain't been doing nothing, now he's gonna try to go out there and man up with Alabama. A lot of times these kids are really working on something. A lot of times they are really putting in that work. And does she have a certain number of shots that she tries to get up in a day? Or?
Yes, it's like 500. 500 to 1,000,
yeah. Okay, now I know why I'm sitting on this side of the mic. Cris, what do you have your phenomenal athletes over at IMG working on in the offseason?
Well, of course, we always work on the body. Okay. You know, as far as lifting and running, drills, we always emphasize doing drill work. We also emphasize your mind.
Okay.
And you have to work on your mind also. As far as getting, knowing your why you do this. Why are you going out at 5:30 in the morning doing this drill? What do you try to accomplish in this drill? And knowing and pinpointing each drill, there's something that you're trying to accomplish mentally and also physically. So and therefore, we always try to work on the guy's mind as well as we work on the physically, mentally as well as we work on the physically. Why are you doing it? What are you doing this drill for? And what's the purpose behind the drill?
That's so big, especially right now with the whole mind thing.
Right.
Because, you know, we've seen some of the extreme negative effects about the mentals, as Marshawn Lynch so appropriately termed it. You know, mental health and mental well-being is important. You know, even on a high school level, even on a college level, definitely on the pro level. And one thing I got for sure, you don't have to admit it, but a lot of folks don't understand that. A lot of folks don't understand. A lot of folks think, I bought this ticket, I need you to perform. You don't have time to have depression. You don't have time to have anxiety. You don't have time to not be mentally prepared for that moment. And guess what? We human, aren't we?
Right, and then sometimes you set a guy up for failure in the drill. So therefore, now he know how to overcome it.
Wow.
You set him and say, okay, I know he can't reach this. Like say, running 200 in 19 seconds.
Which is world class.
Right, he's not Carlos.
Right.
He's not, Usain Bolt.
Right.
You know that he possibly cannot get it in 19 seconds. And to see how his body reacts to not getting it. He's coming close and saying, it's all right, we came close. But I done this for a reason. All right, let's try it again. I get it in 23 seconds. And see, now have them fail, then have them accomplish. Then you see the bright smile on their faces. But you're actually working on their mental state. And you know that they cannot do it at the time that you put it, but now we're working mentally. Because everything happens in the game. Stuff happens in the game is how you get over. The faster you get over the other state in the game, it's better you can be as a person.
You know what? I think you just opened up a whole lot of eyes when you said sometimes the drill or the thing is to set them up to fail so that they can see how they react to that failure. Because we're all going to make mistakes. It's how you respond to those mistakes and come back from them.
Correct, yes.
We hear, especially as a cornerback, defensive back, and Jen, will come to you on this as well as a gymnast, that you got to have a short memory. You might get burned on one play, but you got to shake that off, come back. You might have held, you might have PI'd, but you got to come back on that next play and play that like the last one didn't even happen. How do you do that? Because you were one of the best at it.
Well, I don't ever remember getting beat. So.
I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to shut it down, take my camera off, put it all on them. Instead, he said, I don't even remember getting beat.
I don't remember that.
Wow.
I don't ever remember getting beat, but as video and television, everyone see the play that happened on that Monday night versus me, and I was with the Vikings and Green Bay. Antonio Freeman played at that time. Everyone see me in that play, and I tell them all the time it's a learning situation. When my guys tease me about it, I tell them that it's a learning situation for you guys. That's why I'm here right now. I'm trying to teach you not to do what I did. Wow, finish the play. I just assumed that the play was over. So I use moments like that to also be teachable moments in the future and now, what happened in the past. So, but, me personally, I always had thick skin. I always, you can cuss me out, you yell at me, and I've been cursed before, I've been yelled at before. So I just move on to the next play. Because what you don't want to do is turn one bad play into two bad plays.
Yeah.
And then turn into three bad plays. Then next thing you know, you have a series of bad plays, then you're sitting on the sideline. Quick story if I have time.
Yeah, you got time.
Coach Jerry Glanville, my rookie year, I got beat for 2 touchdowns versus the Jets. And Coach Glanville politely walked over and told me, he's called me Future. He said, Future, don't worry about it. No one saw the touchdowns. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's good. No one saw I got beat for touchdowns, but didn't realize that thing was on TV. There was over 60-some thousand people in the stadium. But Coach Granville said no one saw it. So I was like, oh, some people had to see it. No one saw it. So, but just little stuff like that I try to get them to relax and realize that it's just a game.
Yeah.
Don't take it as a life and death situation. It's a game. And you have a chance. You have a time to make up what you've done wrong.
Coach, I absolutely love that. And I was a big fan of Jerry Glanville. So, and what did he always leave a ticket for Elvis?
Yeah,
always left a ticket for Elvis. Always was in black. Always left a ticket for Elvis. Dr. J, same thing in gymnastics. I mean, obviously, you make a mistake on that beam, or you make a mistake on the vault, or one of the apparatus. It could cost you, seriously.
Absolutely.
How do you handle that?
Well, I think added to what Cris talked about, in gymnastics, your mistake could have a physical reminder for you. And so to say, oh, just, brush it off, I'm bleeding, brush it off, I've broken something, brush it off. I mean, plenty of times of balancing, you fall and you what's called straddle the beam. And, if it's in competition, guess what? There is no walk off, baby, it's going to be okay. You need to get back on and finish. And so it's one of those moments where as you're training, Luckily and unfortunately, those things happen in practice. So you're literally practicing to forget the moment. And you don't even understand that because your coach, if you're a good coach like Bill Austin, shout out to my coach. If you're a good coach, the coach is stern. Get up, you're okay, get back on, you got 10 seconds, because that's really what happens in competition. And it's hard and you're mad at your coach and all that, but that's what you have to do. You kind of have to practice to forget the moment so that you can perform. But I am going to throw it back on Cris, because Cris said he had been cursed out by many people. But let me say, when you're number one talented, then it's easier to forget the bad moment because you know you're talented, so you can get the good moment again. That's number one. Talented people can do that. But number two, this one right here might have been cursed out by some of the best, but I'm sure he had some equal firepower that he could have given back too. So that curse out, those bad moments didn't hurt him nearly as much because he had something for them too.
I got you. I was like, oh Lord, what is she gonna say?
This is Cris Dishman. So Cris Dishman had something back. I'm sure there was an exchange of firepower, and then life moves on.
Let me tell you, we
it's a Christian show. So
Yeah.
that's what we call it, firepower.
Let me tell you. Listen, real quick, y'all about to get this little girl in trouble. My 17-year-old just texted, tell Dr. J I said hello. She's one of my favorites. And Mr. Dishman, hello. And oh yeah, by the way, can you cash out me? And you see what she did there.
Right?
She tuned into the show to be able to butter me up so that I would, okay, baby, all right.
And it's working too.
It's working.
Wait a minute, you don't see that? You don't see fear in my... Man, let me just tell you, baby girl, go back to class. You will have lunch money, all right? But she's a dancer, and she's one of those ones that tries to do some gymnastics and that kind of stuff. She's a competitive, she's in competition in karate. And when she comes in, her competitors will say, emphasis here. Did you ever have a player or an adversary that when you walked on the field, you're like, okay, there they are. There they are. Did you ever have a team that you played against? Like you knew, all right, it's going to be me and...
Yeah, of course. When you face them, Mike Irvin and Jerry Rice and those guys, and Alvin Harvard that was in Dallas, when you face guys like that, you always know where they are, who they are, what they have done. Because it's such great athletes.
Yeah.
You go against Troy Aikman, Steve Young, guys like Warren Moon I faced, even though Warren and I played together, we also faced each other. When you go against guys like that, you know who they are and what they're doing. And it's all about respect.
Yeah.
So therefore, now that you know that you got to bring your A game.
Right.
Because if you try to go and do something else, your A game has to be up because you're facing one of the greatest players that's played the game.
Yeah. Jennifer, would you in gymnastics?
Yes, absolutely. Most of the time, those gymnasts, when you get to the international level, have these international names, and Svetlana, you do okay, Svetlana, I see you, but Jennifer's here too. And so we see each other. It's fun on the international level because most of the time you didn't speak the same language, so it would be sometimes the universal head nod, like, all right, I'll see you on the platform, and to see who's going to end up first, second, third, and who's going to get the actual hardware. So it was a really fun game to get up to when you knew that if I want to win, I have to be who I respect, who I consider the best.
Let's hit the top of the hour. We're going to come back with Dr. J and Cris Dishman right after this on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK. I was going to next. I'm going to expound on that. Should happen.
Well, what I'm saying is this.
KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff, or management.
All right, y'all, back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. We're streaming live, KYOKradio.org, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Hey, Twitter, how y'all doing? All right, it's our Freestyle Friday, and I got I ain't just saying it because they're here, two of my favorite people in the whole wide world. We got Dr. J. She rocks with us almost every Friday, and a lot of y'all trying to get me to take vacation so she could run the show. And we got Cris Dishman in the house. And for all you Oiler fans out there, it's that Cris Dishman. So glad to have y'all on this Freestyle Friday. we were talking about, your competitors and knowing that they're out there and them knowing that you're out there too. Tom Brady's going back to New England. He's going back to New England. And of course, Bill Belichick is still there. And they had a lot of success together. Not 1, not 2, not 3, all the way up to 7 championships. We can talk about that all day. Here's the one I want to talk about. Why is Mac Jones calling Tom Brady him instead of calling him by his name? I'm sorry, help me out. Please help me out. Didn't he just get in the NFL like day 4 yesterday? Tom Brady got 7 rings. Mr. Brady, Mr. Tom Brady, Tom Brady, something, but him. Like, you're just not going to acknowledge him as if he's not going to show up, and that's going to make him be a little smaller when he's out there on the field. Chris, help me with that, please.
It's a psychological tool he's trying to use. I'm not saying his name, you feel like that he can have a psychological advantage over him.
Okay.
You just got to realize Tom Brady is Tom Brady. He have heard and seen almost everything out of almost, 18, 19 years in the league.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he has seen, almost heard everything. So it's just a little psychological tool you try to use to get to your opponent.
Okay, so I know you can't tell me everything, but take me to that part of the locker room that we as reporters don't get to go to, where y'all pull the rook aside and say, "Hey, young buck, don't do that no more."
Oh, I'm sure some guys that's on that team has told them, "Listen, you don't understand who this guy is."
Yeah, that
So,
part.
if you got something crazy to say, just say it to yourself. Don't put that out there because you're a quarterback. I'm sure some of the defensive guys was the first one that went to it and said, "You're a quarterback. You're protected on this underneath the shield. All right. Well, you don't have to play against Tom Brady, even though you're hard, but you don't have to go out there and physically play against Tom Brady. We do. So let's let this guy come in here, get all the accolades he's doing, have all his head, let him all see all these friends, be all excited about being here, and maybe he can, we have to play against him. So let's keep the mouth shut."
Dr. J, I've seen Tom Brady run 40 yards downfield just to let a guy know that I heard what you said. Mm-hmm. And oh yeah, by the way, that's a touchdown. I threw that. Tom Brady has championship mentality. He's got championship petty mentality too. I mean, his level of pettiness is Hall of Fame-ish. So, I know you coach and you mentor and you train. How would you handle a young Mac Jones going into one of the biggest games in his life? And it doesn't have to be, but it just is. A lot of hype around it. How would you coach him up for a situation like that?
Put your energy into the preparation for the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tom has 18, 19 seasons worth of this and championships.
Bunch of rings.
He's where you were trying to be. So if you want to put Tom Brady in your mouth, you want to study what he did at the spot where you are. Because that's how you're going to get to that type of career. So few people have that type of career in any sport. And so I guarantee you, Tom wasn't jaw-jacking about anything at that stage in his career. He was working, he was building. Right now, you're just wasting all of your energy and all of this steam. And Tom is loving it. He's absolutely loving it because he sees what his team is about to go up against. So right now, you're actually giving them all confidence because if you're talking, you're clearly not ready.
Right. And that's kind of, so it reminded me, y'all kind of my age bracket, when this dude named Mike Tyson used to fight people, and everybody had something to say in the press conference. Very few of them had something to say after the fight. All of the after the fight was, man, he was good as y'all. Yeah, I thought he didn't have him. Yeah. But a few people could say what they said before the press conference. Mike said it like this: everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Right. So yeah, what do you expect from a game like this? What do you expect? Tom Brady, all that energy, all that electricity coming in, and the Belichick Brady divorce and all of that. What's that like to be on a team like that?
Well, of course, you got to get through all the hype. And once you get through all the hype and settle down, it's just going to be, hey, it's not Tom Brady versus New England or Belichick versus the Bucks. It's a football game.
Yeah.
So once you get through all the hype, and that's right mid first quarter, all the hype is going, you realize that, okay, now it's another team over here I have to concentrate on to try to beat.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, once the hype is down, it's good for the fans, it's good
Right.
for radio, talk radio,
Yep.
it's good for the media and stuff to talk about it, to blow it up for what it is. But as players, we see it, we listen to all the hype, but it's still a game.
Mm-hmm.
It's still going to be a game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure Brady, with his professionalism, he's treating it as just another game.
Yep.
You know, of course, then after the win, if they win, then you can sit back and say, okay, yeah, I've done this.
He will find you.
Right.
He will find you. If you got a burner account, he will find your burner account and talk stuff to your face. Dr. J, what's the biggest event that you've been in where you competed, where it was just crazy wild?
I can't remember the name of the event, but it was an international competition. And this was probably like the first world stage that I was on, where if you computed a trick for the first time successfully, that trick gets named after you. And so that's how tricks are actually named in gymnastics. That's how they get named after you. You have to compete them successfully in an international competition.
Okay, so who was Yurchenko? Because that thing that he did.
It's actually, it's a male gymnast.
Right.
And the Yurchenko is actually done on the female side. I believe they may have at this point named it after a female gymnast, but it's the same skill, but it was originally done. I think it was a Russian gymnast, is Yurchenko.
And Simone was at the time the only woman to do it in competition. So I said, "Are y'all gonna name that the bios?" Because I know there are a couple of things already named.
Twist to it, so that's why it got named the bios. So people had done Yurchenko before.
Okay.
You know, women in it, but they continued to call it the Yurchenko because it was literally the same skill. But Simone added a kind of a twist to it, so that's what made it a different skill and why it could have its own name.
Chris, biggest game in your career?
Well, that's huge. I guess my first NFL game
Okay.
could be the biggest game. That's number one. And number two is being here on KYOK.
Is this nervous for you? Is this nervous for you?
That's part of one of my biggest.
Don't play with me, man. You gonna have me. You know we had one of his biggest moments on the show. Yeah.
So I guess.
I hope y'all are recording. I hope y'all record that.
But like I said, I guess my biggest game was my first time being in the NFL, and actually walking out on the field and be like, "Wow, I'm in the NFL. I'm actually getting paid for a game that I played for free for so many years and love playing. You know, I've been out on the street in the park at Shining Park in Louisville, Kentucky, playing football. But like, one day I'm gonna be in the NFL. No, you're not. You know, saying kids are already like, yeah, you're not gonna be there. I'm gonna be there and stuff like that. So, and actually walking out and being there was probably one of the highlights of my, I'd say it's one of the biggest points.
That's outstanding, man. Especially to hear you say that. So, how you say your hometown? Say it out loud.
Louisville.
Okay, I was just checking.
Louisville.
I was going because
Louisville.
Man. When somebody says, "Yeah, I was up in Louisville," it's like, where were you? Where were you? And let me ask you one more question, because there's somebody near and dear to my heart that grew up in a town that she calls the Ville. What is the Ville when you hear that?
Western Louisville.
Okay, let me just say something. All of y'all from Evansville, Indiana, that is not the Ville. I don't know who told y'all that.
No.
That is a town in Indiana called Evansville.
Correct.
The Ville? Louisville.
Louisville.
Just trying to help folks. I just got in trouble, by the way. All right, y'all, we got to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to go in another direction. Y'all know me, I'm throwing curveballs left and right. I don't know what I'm gonna get to again, so I got, and she knows. I don't even give her a talking sheet like, Jennifer, we're gonna talk about this, we're gonna talk about that. It just, all right. So listen, if y'all want in 281-453-1000, 281-453-1000, want to get your thoughts. One of the listeners want to get your thoughts on Richard Sherman getting signed by the Bucs. What you think about that? We'll do that next right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all new 92.3 FM. It's Freestyle Friday. Yeah. We played all last year and set out these first two games.
Vice President of Communication Workers for American District 6. Trey and I are inviting you to listen in to our new political talk show, Power to the People Political Hour. Hello, this is Trey Davis for the Daily Truth. Yes, Bob, the show will be hard-hitting and informative, talking about national and local political issues of the day, weekend, month. Interviews will be with pastors,
send this money over here real quick.
responsibility.
No, I'm not doing it. Send. Silent. I'm Side Spring. She's a senior this year. I don't even know what. Oh my God. Oh my God. Not yet. Next weekend. All right, y'all. We're back here on the lunch break. Yeah, I just sent the cash out. And yeah, I sent $5. Oh my goodness. I have grown kids, and then I have what I call my second generation kids. The grown kids hate it. You were never that way with me. You used to. Nah, I don't remember that. Like you would get me. I know. I'll remember that. So, but anyway, we're back in the studio with Dr. J and Cris Dishman, formerly of the Houston Oilers. And a lot of people look at the league nowadays and they say, "Oh, back in the day, you know, it would have been able to handle this back in the day." One thing I'm glad that they did is went back and looked at some of those sacks that they didn't keep a record of before the Strahans and those guys. Because, man, it was a bunch of guys, you know, playing some good ball back in the day. So they got that too. What, in your opinion, is different, truly different from back in the day in the game today?
For one, the fear factor is not in. Meaning back in the day, you didn't have receivers come across the middle, stretching out and catching the ball, because they know they're going to get whacked. Yeah. Whereas now, they have this protected shield over a guy who's come across the middle.
Defenseless receiver.
They have this protected shield over the quarterbacks. You know, if you get near the quarterback or you push the quarterback, you know, you get a 15-yard penalty. But back then, it wasn't, even though the quarterback so-called was protected, it wasn't really, the flags was not really thrown. You know, it's more so over the part of like everybody else. So I think that's the biggest difference as far as anything is if I'm a receiver these days, I have no fear of going across the middle. Where the receivers back then, they took a second thought of going across the middle because you may get, whacked.
Yeah, when I think of some of those receivers for the Oilers, man, they made their money going across that middle.
Right.
And that's what kept them out on the field. You know, you had the guys who go across the middle, but then you had some of those guys that stretch the field, and y'all like to stretch that field. But yeah, I mean, again, there were guys that literally lost their job because they couldn't consistently go across the middle and hang on to the ball or, make that clutch catch. But nowadays, man, you say it's a different deal.
And the guys today are so much athletic.
Mm-hmm.
You have offensive linemen probably go running 4.5 40. You have outside linebackers running 4.4. It's the guys today is so much athletic. It's crazy.
Who's the most athletic guy that you think you played with?
Oh wow, I had two of them. Ernest Givens was number one.
Yeah.
And Willie Drury was a very athletic receiver. He don't get talked about as much as the rest of the guys because you had Haywood, you had Ernest, you had Curtis Duncan. But Willie Drury was a very good athlete as far as back then.
Okay.
Bubba McDowell, I'd say three.
I was gonna say, you know what? We got a shout out to Coach up there. He got a big win last night, 27-17 off of Pine Bluff. They got a nice little quarterback up there at Prairie View too, but he's got a defense that they don't play. I said last night, I called that game last night. I said that defense is on one tonight. They wasn't giving up much of anything. Gave up a jump, touchdown near the end, but that defense is legit. Yeah, they're undefeated in the SWAC right now. Yeah, okay. Let me do this real quick so I don't get in trouble. We do the HBCU stroll with my frat brother, Johnny Cole, former head coach of Texas Southern University, and he wanted me to reiterate that he apologized for not hiring you back when he had the opportunity to do so to come run his defense. So he said, let him know. I'm still sorry about that.
Everything happens for a reason. It's always God's plan.
Yeah. Now, we talked about this. Can I say it? We were daydreaming about you and Bubba getting together and coaching together. Is that something that y'all talk about?
Well, we always, Bubba and I said good friends. We don't really have to talk about nothing like that. If it happens, it's happening. Of course, we would love to do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Come about, Bubba did something, and need me, he know I'm there for him. If I get something, if I need him, he knows he's going to be there for me.
I love that. How do you develop brotherhoods like that? When you're in those locker rooms and when you're battling like that, how do you get close to a guy like that?
It's just because when people talk brotherhood, you got to be able to really sacrifice what you got to be able to sacrifice yourself for him. You got to be able to sacrifice himself for you. So that's how you get closer to the person. As a team, at the beginning of camp, you're just teammates. After camp, during the season, that's when the brotherhood is bond, is the plane rides home, the bus trips to the game.
Okay.
Not just in the locker room, but that's when the bonding starts happening, is knowing the person's situation off the field.
I got you.
Sitting around in the locker room after practice, talking like that after practice, watching film with each other, everybody getting their step approved of watching film with each other. That's how the brotherhood is bonded, because we're all out for the same goal.
Yeah.
And that's to win championships and win games.
Gotcha. Dr. J, you know me. I kind of put it on the spot. Don't say who. But did you ever see someone that was a brother that you was like, nah, Chris, I don't think he for you.
Yeah.
Really?
But Chris saw it too, though.
Okay.
I think we're at the age now that even if we have people around us that are on the fringes, let's just say, we don't go to their house for dinner, they're friends. We understand where people stand, and so I may have that, my spidey senses might tingle on it, but he already, he's a really good judge of character, I think. So he knows who should be inside the bubble and who should stay kind of outside the bubble.
Chris, same question, because we talk about relationships and stuff on Friday a lot, and she comes with the fire, man.
Always.
Bruh, I walk out here sometimes like, man, I gotta go act right. Lord, oh man. But same thing for you. Have you ever, looked and said, I don't know if this is really your girl?
Yes, I have. And as far as business and also friendship wise, that's a great thing about Jennifer and I. We hold each other accountable, for each other and for each other's business wise. People she has done business with. I was like, I'm not feeling it. And she respects my decision as well as I respect her decision. And and then later on when stuff goes bad, it's like, wow, I'm glad I listened to you.
Yeah.
Thank you, babe. I'm glad I listened to you. Thank you for looking out for us, because we know that we have each other's back.
Right.
And the only thing we're concerned about is making it to heaven, and also being able to help each other out while we're on earth.
Yeah.
Not just giving back to each other, but giving back to your community, giving back to someone else. It's just been right by me.
Yeah. I in my other profession, I'm a pastor, and I counsel people premarital. I counsel them while they're married, and then unfortunately I have to do divorce recovery. And one thing I always wonder about is couples that compete with each other. And you guys have competed on high levels in your respective sports and what have you. But what would you say to couples that, for whatever reason, there's some type of competition? Because you've been very successful off the court, off the field. You've been very successful out of the gymnasium. Sometimes people look at that and they feel like, well, that should be me. Even though y'all are, man, you wearing that person's ring, they come and laying down next to you. What would you say to somebody who's dealing with that competitive spirit inside the relationship?
You gotta get it right. I mean, you have got to stop, I think, dead in your tracks. If that is your feeling, if that is your gut, that you need to be in the spot you're in, you have to take a hard look if this is the right relationship. I could not imagine competing with Chris. Although we did do a foot race where homeboy thought he could beat me backpedaling. Him backpedaling, me going.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Chris said, hold on. This is how we gonna make it easy.
That's the only time.
I'm a backpedal, and you still can't beat me.
That's exactly what he said. And it was about 12:30 at night.
Yeah.
Oh my
12:30 at
God.
night. Our son, Ethan, my bonus son, was involved in the situation with a 3-person kind of competition.
Yeah.
Him and Ethan were like wanting to compete in there. So you know what? We did what all athletes do.
I was gonna say that ain't husband, that ain't wife, those athletes.
We put our shoes on the truck at midnight, took it to the street.
Oh my God.
And homeboy was really, I thought to myself, he really cannot believe that I am that slow. There's no way. I was fast.
Let me just say something. Can I just say something? Y'all all look fast running down that runway, get ready to do that vault. All of y'all look like y'all doing about, a 40-yard dash, about 3.7.
Correct.
But
And I was one of the fastest. In my time, I was one of the fastest. I could not. Now, I'm not that girl.
you're not that girl now.
I'm not that girl.
But
ain't no way. That's why I told myself, probably the longest.
I was going. She said, "I'll win nothing else in life. I'm winning this."
And he really like when he turned around, I thought he's gonna be like, "No, I'm just playing." No, he turned around like, "Let's go." So I was like, "Okay, let's go."
Because Cris couldn't lose. He said, "I can't lose this one."
Now his back pedal pretty good. I will say.
Well, that's how he made a little money. So I can see how that might have been strong.
Thank you, Jesus. I can beat.
She done called on the good Lord. Thank you. Lord didn't fail me yet.
That's the only time.
Cris, did you try to win?
Oh yeah, I tried to win because I wasn't sure that I could do it. But, yeah, I lost that down the way.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. But you know what? That's fun. That's healthy. That's the kind of stuff that keeps the fire burning. There's some people that get so caught up in the job, and I'm not knocking people, man. Times are tough right now. You got to do what you can to make it. But every now and then, a foot race, or every now and then, a game of cards, or just.
Oh no, we play cards off.
Wait a minute.
We had a gold set card.
She
special moments.
She's from Louisiana, so she might know a little bit about some cards.
I do that. I give her a clap. She's good.
Now, do y'all partner with other couples? How's that work out?
Oh, wonderful, because we talk so much junk and we're so confident.
Okay.
That I just really feel sorry for anybody that wants to come play up against.
Let me tell you something. I've counseled couples over spades and taboo. And the counseling with this one, don't ever be partners again. And y'all be fine. Like everything else is good, but don't y'all be partners because somebody cut the other trump, somebody wasn't watching the board, somebody, slept the book, and it's like, so y'all good with that?
No, we have one mind. No, we locked in. Oh yeah, our goal is to be whoever's on the other team, so we are locked in. No, but back to the question though, it would hurt my heart if I looked at Cris and thought, let me beat him. Yeah. And let me just be serious for a second. I come from a family, my father died when I was 19. You never know what's going to happen in life. Sometimes one person is up, the next moment it can be in a flash, the next person is up. If one person is winning financially for the family, that's great because you don't know what the long term is going to be. Sometimes it's you, sometimes it's me, but it's for the good of us. For where we end up. And so that's why I say it all goes into a community pool for this wonderful life that we try to live and give. And so if it's in people's hearts to compete against their spouse, they really have to stop and take a hard look at what they are doing. It's going to continue to be this fissure that's just going to break them apart.
Absolutely. I couldn't see being in the same, I always say bed, home relationship with someone that I got to compete with. If I win, we win. Right. If you win, we win. So we got a call, but I want to come back to that because I really feel like that's helping somebody. Hello, you're live on the lunch break. Who's this? Oh, they hung up. Okay. Hey, if you want to call back, I'm sorry. I just kind of hit the button because I didn't want to interrupt that point. But 281-453-1000, 281-453-1000.
Let me make this point, though. This guy right here, you remember how he competed.
Yeah.
The look, I always tell him, the look on his face as a competitor, he's a different guy as a competitor than he is when he's not competing. The look on his face was like, I will annihilate you. That's his goal. And for me, exact same thing. Like, if I'm going to compete against you, if it's me against you, it's going to be me that's going to win. So if now we're competing, I'm positioning myself to make you lose. That's not love. That's not love. And my goal is for you to lose. Because that's what my goal is. And Cris too.
Right.
And as well it should be. A real competitor, my goal is to win, which means I'm okay with you losing. And I would never be okay with that.
That's strong though. That's strong because even in heated fellowship, see what I did there? Even in heated fellowship, you got to avoid those nuclear words. You don't want to blow up the relationship to the point where there's no coming back from it. And there's certain words that you don't go trigger that other person. That's going to leave them defeated. And is it that important to win that you blew up somebody that you love? Yeah. Let's see who's on the phone. Hello, you live on the lunch break. Who's this?
Good afternoon.
Man, this is a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan like nobody's business. Keith, be nice, man. Be nice.
For you, I will be simply because Dr. J is in the house.
All right.
My favorite guest on your show.
He calls her the favorite guest, the smartest guest, anything that's got an S on it. That's who Dr. J is.
Well,
Keith,
thank you,
Would
Keith.
be right.
Keith, what's up, man?
I have a question for Cris.
Okay.
I am an old guy, Cris, and I've been watching the NFL since it was on black and white TV in the 50s. In your opinion, do you think that the NFL today has gotten softer than it was 30 years ago, 20 years ago, back when you played?
Keith, yes, I think it's gotten softer because back in the 50s, you know, they didn't have the face mask was not really part of the helmet. You can grab and pull and do everything into the huddles, on the pals. So it's not really got, I can't say softer, it has got mature. Or now that, you know, it's about player safety. You know, you don't want to run in there and spear someone on the ground. You don't want to run in there and use your head into a tackle because it's all about player safety. Back then, there wasn't really no player safety because there wasn't out there, there was no studies out there. But now as the studies get along, they say you don't supposed to tackle with your head. You keep your head out of it. You know, you don't want to really concussion protocol. And I think it's prolonging people's career, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
NFL players 3.5 years. With these concussion protocols and everything else in place, and safety protocols and everything else in place, I don't know what the ratio of player now, but I wish someone could study like that and be able to prolong a person's career, not only career, their life in general. So I wouldn't use the word softer. I would just use the word that we have got more knowledgeable of how to do stuff as you get older.
I totally agree. The game is much safer now, but in my mind, the officials are very, very fast on the trigger to throw a flag for whatever. Let's say you hit the quarterback. Quarterbacks need to be wrapped in bubble paper these days because people are so terrified that their quarterback is going to go down. And back in the day when quarterbacks were football players, they took hits and they got up or didn't, but they typically got up and moved on the next play. Don't you think the quarterbacks are being protected just a little too much and it dilutes the game?
Keith, like I said earlier about the quarterbacks, yes, that's the nature of the game. Fans come to see offense, unfortunately, instead of seeing a game itself. You know, fans like to see scoring. They want to see scoring. You know, when they buy their ticket for the Bucks game, they don't want to see the backup quarterback. They want to see Tom Brady in the game.
Yeah.
You know, they don't care about who's on defense. I want to come see Tom Brady in the game. So if Tom Brady's out of the game, and I bought this, say the ticket's $130, I bought this $130 ticket, and Tom Brady's not in the game, I'm trying to look for a refund because I didn't come here to watch the game. I came here to see what magical things Tom Brady can do. So that's probably why the NFL is more safer on quarterbacks because they know that it's a quarterback-driven league. You know, it's a passing league now. You know, you're going to see, I don't want to get too technical, you're going to see 11 personnel, you're going to see 10 personnel, you're not going to see too much 20 and 21 personnel back in the day when I played. That's why the tight end is spread out. You're going to see a 2-by-2 formation, spread formation, whereas when I played, it was a tight end on the line of scrimmage, a fullback and a halfback. Now you see 3-4 wide receivers in the game because we become a passing league.
Yeah. Keith Hennick?
Yes.
You know, back when you were hanging around the Dallas Cowboys, he used to be affiliated with the Cowboys organization. You had a couple of guys that made their money blowing folks up with their helmets, man. And I mean, they literally made their money, Billy Bates. blowing folks up with those helmets. But you're right, it's a different league, it's a different time, and quarterbacks have a little bit more protection. See what I did there than they had back then.
I do see what I try to wrap my mind around it, but NFL quarterbacks are football players.
Yeah.
If you can't take a hit, you need to do something else for a living.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. Keith, I'm originally from Cincinnati. Grew up, my dad taking me down to Riverfront Stadium watching the games, and so when the Pittsburgh Steelers came to town, my dad swore they had one game plan: take Kenny Anderson out of the game. And once they took Kenny Anderson out of the game, they have to worry about nobody else.
Well, Coach Landry's philosophy was defense wins championships, and I'm more of a defensive guy. I think I probably saw every game Chris Dishman played in and really have a lot of respect for your skills. You were an amazing player. But you hit people, and you hit them hard.
Did he hit somebody? You sure we got the right Chris Dishman?
Yeah. Great cover guy. And I just think defensive players now have to really, really be careful about how they hit and who. And it really dilutes the game for me.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Todd. Todd. We're going to call you Todd now. Keith Hennick, we appreciate you, man. You the call of the year 2020. So we appreciate you, man.
We appreciate you. Thanks, AJ.
All right, brother.
Yeah.
Good dude, very good dude. And he brings up a good point. When you look at the game today, do you look at how some of the defensive backs play the game now versus the way you played it back then?
Yeah, because like I said, it's in passing. They don't really hit guys at the line of scrimmage. They use this technique, what we call motor. They want to motor off, their hands are down, their hands are not up as far as corners, and they're not hitting the guy's face. I tell guys, they got to make their money within the first 5 yards. Your corner got to make their money within the first 5 yards. You got to move your feet back, get your hands on the receiver. You got to be disruptive at the line of scrimmage. So therefore, you can break off the timing of the quarterback or the offense. But it's all about timing.
Right.
Timing.
Right.
So these guys now, they realize that, okay, at 5 yards, I can't hit them. The play could be way on the other side. And if I touch him and do something on the left side, or on the right, the guy throw a flag.
Still, yeah.
And then it's still a flag on me, even though the play, I'm not affecting the play.
Yeah.
Now that I don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I think they need to, if it affects the play, call the flag. But if the play, if the guy on the other side of the field is not affecting the play, then why throw a flag on it?
Yeah.
That, me personally, I don't think it's right. It's not really football.
Yeah.
I don't play.
Yeah. I'm going to take that a step further because I've seen people running touchdowns, punt returns, kickoff returns, and they're way ahead of the play. And you can see an official looking back behind them to see if anybody gets blocked in the back. If they're 40 yards behind the play and they get pushed in the back or whatever, what's the point of taking that touchdown back? Even if you add it to the kickoff or whatever, does that change the complexion of the game? You're coaching now.
Yeah, I don't think it changes. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if it doesn't affect the play,
Right.
I don't think a penalty need to be called. Now, if it's one of those violent hits,
unnecessary roughness or
something like that,
right,
that really can hurt the person's career, then I think a flag needs to be called.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's simple, I just hit him on the side or hit him on the back, and now I'm getting flagged.
Yeah.
I'm the DB, and they just go through a pass on 3rd and 7, 3rd and 10, it's incomplete.
Yeah.
But I'm the DB over here. I'm hitting, and I hit this guy at 6 yards.
Right.
And the flag call, now it's first down.
Right.
And I didn't affect that play over there because that guy dropped the ball.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
If there was a rule that all referees, all NFL referees had to be former players, how would that change the game? Call.
Well, okay. Well, you wouldn't get too many former players, I guess, being a ref. But I think that.
Is that like taboo? Like, nah, bro, I know you ain't on that side.
No, I think that all the refs should be full-time. They should have benefits just like everybody else.
Yeah.
They should be vested just like players.
Sure.
4 years, we all vested.
Yep.
And the refs should have the same benefits. After 3 or 4 years, they should be vested. They should have a pension plan. They should have everything else. Just like as players, as coaches have.
Yeah.
Make them full-time, have them come in the night before and have some type of simulated game, what we call, I think the education part of referees need to be more involved.
Yeah.
You know, we'll have simulated game, hey, what we call this play, boom, no, this is not it. Have someone there teaching them and training them. And I'm sure they, I don't know if they do that or not, but like anybody else, you come and try to do something for one time in a week, you're not going to be that good at it.
Yeah. Cris Dishman, you know, he's a defensive coordinator now at a major school, so he's probably had a call or two like, man, what are you talking about? What's that? Come here. Over there, come here. So, Coach, how are you training you guys up now? What are you working on? What do you have been working on, especially when it comes to being on the defensive side of the ball?
I tell my guys, my defensive back go out there and be aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
If they call it, they call it. I don't think the ref's going to call five pass interference calls in a row. So if you go out there and be aggressive, be you, and just work on your technique.
Yeah.
Everything's about technique. You gotta be a technician. You know, you can't be lazy with your steps. You can't be lazy with your eyes. You can't be lazy with your hands. If you do the proper technique, then it's your skills versus that person's skill in front of you. And then if he makes a great catch on you, he makes a great catch on you. But as long as you do everything proper, then you should come out and get it.
Yeah. Do a lot of the guys listen to you because you're you?
I think so. I think having the playing at a high level, and those guys want to get to where I've been. So I think me playing the position they actually play, I mean, if they're playing helps also. You know, I can teach them the little mysteries of stuff. I can tell them to pop the hip of the receiver when you're running. They don't try to arm bar. They tell them when to look back. You know, it's a 3-second rule because most times quarterbacks have 3 to 3.5 seconds. That's it. They go with football. Yeah. So if you put your work in within the first 5 yards, then you'll be able to turn and run with football, safety-wise. So be able to read the quarterback. You know, you don't have too many quarterbacks that look off these days. Mm-hmm. Quarterbacks come out, they're going to look exactly what side of the field they're going to throw with football. So try to teach them how to read the quarterback, read them when some quarterbacks get the ball, they pat the ball twice before they throw, some pat it once. So, you know, it's just film study of reading the quarterback and see his what he do with his tendencies.
Right. Who was the toughest quarterback you played against?
Well, I practice against him every day.
Warren.
Yeah, he's probably the best back shoulder throw player I've went against. Because you know how to throw it low and outside. You know, he had a very good ball. But as far as receiver-wise, it's in my era, there's so many great receivers. Yeah. Moonrise. And, you know.
That dude was very underrated.
Yes.
His name is Andre, so he needs to be rated higher, but very underrated. Because, you know, a lot of people didn't realize how quick he was, and how strong he was. His body was legit.
Yes, he was. Yeah. You know, there was so many good receivers back there. There was Bad Moonrise, Andre Reed, of course, Michael Irvin, Jerry Rice, you know. So John Taylor also was on the opposite side of Jerry Rice. Alvin Harper was on the opposite side of Michael Irvin. So you couldn't really double team Michael Irvin because you had Alvin Harper over there killing you. Yep. And so it was so many 1-2 punches back then. You know, it's hard to say who was the best or who was that. It was all have to do with the quarterback that they was going against. And Troy Aikman, you know, Dan Marino. So it's the quarterbacks, I think, helped them out a lot too.
Yeah, you have a lot of discussion, and even in your sport, Dr. J, about folks who don't win the ultimate championship. You know, you got a lot of gymnasts who did win gold, but they were just legit. You got a lot of quarterbacks, Dan Marino, that didn't win, and then you got, you know, I'm not knocking Eli. I love Eli because he's the only one that beat New England when, you know, he got those shots to do it. But, you know, you got folks that don't win it that get marginalized. You got folks that do win it that, you know, all of a sudden just because they won it, they're, you know, air supreme. Talk about a couple of folks you know that didn't win it that you would put head and shoulders with everybody else.
Well, for one, Dan Marino.
Yeah.
He never won a Super Bowl. That don't make him not a good quarterback, a great quarterback. Yeah. You know, I never went to a Super Bowl. Of all the championship game, all the AFC championships we won, we always got close. We got in the second round, or got close to this, but never went to the big show. Not even a coach, not even a player.
Yeah.
never went to a big show. So would I trade it for anything? Yeah, I would trade it. Getting to that big show at least one time in my career, and was able to be, if I was able to be successful of winning that Super Bowl, as my kids grow up now, I can say, no, I've never been to a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had a head coach in high school. We made it to a state championship. He said, enjoy this moment. Right. He said, because you may never get to this again on any level. So enjoy this moment. And sure enough, I ain't never seen one since then. Dr. J, same thing with you on gymnastics level.
I was in the Junior Olympics, and I was at the height of my career at that stage. And my coach did the same thing. Enjoy the moment no matter what happens. And I did really well. I medaled 3 times. And it was all bronze, and I think I talked about this before, and I'm just as happy with bronze as I would have been with silver or gold, because, again, more gymnasts will never medal than will actually medal. If people don't, football, the number of players, like 1800 to 2,000 active players. What, 150-something players are going to win 153 will win the Super Bowl that year. And if you do the odds, chances are more players than not will ever go to the Super Bowl. Yeah. It's the way the sport works. But as fans, we believe the Holy Grail. Oh, you don't have this? Well, most people don't have that. And some of it is not because of their own individual skill and talent.
It's a team sport.
It's the team sport. It's circumstance.
Yeah. You were talking about the kids listening to you because you've been to a level that they might want to get to. Did you see that video with the young man at Cam Newton's camp? It was like, yeah, but you're a free agent. You're a free agent. You're a free agent. How would you deal with a young man like that?
Well, I was just, until I'm ready to be a free agent, then not on the team at all. Mm-hmm. So, I think Cam handled it very professional. I did the way he did. It's like, listen, man, I'm trying to help you. Yeah. I'm out here for you. Yeah. I'm not out here for you. Mm-hmm. So, and then, you're going to have some kids who try to know it all. Yeah. And you can't help everyone. You just try to help the ones who want to be helped. And the ones who don't want to be helped, you have to, try to guide them to a certain point and pray that it kicks in and they realize that, hey, this guy's trying to help me, not hurt me.
Yeah. Just real quick, speaking of helping someone, Stacy, I won't say her last name, said that talk about competitive really helped me. She sees where she may have been trying to compete with her husband, and he said that to her before, but now she heard it when you guys were talking. So, again, you never know. You never know who's listening and what they're going through. Cris, what's the biggest thing you've learned from the young lady sitting next to you?
Whoa, do we have time? Patience. That's what's up. Love. And just always putting your best foot forward. She has taught me to always put my best foot forward. Always love what you do. Love the people around you. And be patient with the people who are around you. Because I'm a quick snapper. I snap a lot. Mm-hmm. I have to come back and say I'm sorry. Or something like that. Not only just, as far as with my players. But just love what you do. Have the patience. And just, always put my best foot forward. Yeah. Always giving it my all. No matter what type of job it is. Taking out the trash. Ooh, I got to tie it out. Boom, boom. Put my best foot forward. Washing the dishes, or teaching someone one thing, or teaching a technique. Always put my best foot forward and never be tired. Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as tired. Mm-hmm. I'm tired today. I'm this or that. If you're tired, you're automatically cheated. So I don't even have the word tired or can't in my vocabulary.
Wow. Ouch. Okay. I feel attacked, but go ahead. Dr. J, what have you learned the most from this young man sitting next to you?
Well, for me, it's so funny when I met Cris, you feel you know somebody because you've seen them through a lens. And, but to get to know Cris and to love him, you understand that there was this piece of me that wanted to connect and kind of like Wonder Twins activate, and superpower and super team up, but it was missing, right? I didn't have that person to be able to become great as a couple. And I think that's what was so wonderful is him kind of showing me this, I am the, Wonder Twins activate. We are this kind of one mind on things, just the simple things. He reminds me about being a technician. He's such a technician in his sport, and that is one of the most exciting things to me about a person's mind, if they can be so in tune with wanting to be the best at every little small thing.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about football is a game of inches. Gymnastics is a game of tenths of percent,
Sure.
right? Tenths of points. And so the little things always matter. And so, it's like when we're together, as we've gotten together, it's like it has just multiplied our ideas of how we kind of become great as a couple and how we apply it. We have these kind of sayings amongst each other that didn't exist before I had Cris
Mm-hmm.
in my life. And just being able to say, like I always say, when you walk in the room, I want you to be Cris Dishman. We shouldn't be small when we walk in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Like God has put us in too many places to that when we walk in the room, nobody notices us. We're there for a reason. I want you to be Cris Dishman. I want me to be Dr. J, and I want us to be able to do the best of what we can do when we walk into the room and are around people. And he gets that, and I just love that because he gives me ideas I didn't even know were in my head.
Okay.
And then he gives me the reassurance. He's my sounding board. He's all of those wonderful things. So I love you.
See, I love this show.
It's Christian.
Listen, let me tell you, Freestyle Friday, it goes all kinds of ways.
And we pray together. That's one of the most important parts. That's something that has drawn people to us.
Okay.
Because like when we were in Vero Beach, and we were at, it was, what was it? Dodgertown. We were in Dodgertown in Vero Beach, Florida, and we were there for like 6 or 7 weeks. And so we're eating meals together, definitely lunch and dinner. So we always pray.
Mm-hmm.
And, the rest, I was like one of the only wives that was actually there. So everyone else was just kind of on their own. But it was the example that people are like, we just love that.
Yeah.
And we weren't doing it for them. It's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And, but it helps to just, it has become everything of who we are, and not individual prayers, but group prayers.
Yeah.
And we have become better individually and collectively because of our prayers.
I love that, but it brought something to mind that somebody shared with me one time. They felt pressure because they felt like they didn't know how to pray. And, his spouse kept saying, well, we don't have traditional roles. If I need to pray, then I'll pray. But whatever you say is your prayer. There doesn't have to be any formality to it. So is that something that you all have traditional roles, or Cris, you feel like you got to be the one praying, or vice versa? How do y'all handle that? How do y'all address that?
No, we just, whatever God brings to our head, it's like they said, no matter what you pray, as long as you pray.
Yeah.
And thank God, first and foremost, each and every morning we always say, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
Before we even get out of bed.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for allowing me to get out this day. Thank you for allowing me to walk to the bathroom. Thank you for allowing me to walk into my area of prayer. So we always thank him first and foremost. And I think that over the years it helped us as a relationship and helped us as individuals, because we know that God is behind us.
Mm-hmm. Playing sports, there used to be that commercial, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. I know some athletes who have had hard times transitioning into their normal lives because, they're no longer playing the sport and they don't have that thrill of victory. And it's almost like the one thing that they hang on to is the agony of defeat. So they'll carry a defeatist attitude in relationships and business and in the community and what have you. What would you say to somebody like that who, is just really just trying to be who they are in their life now versus who they were in something else?
Live for the moment. You gotta live for now. You can't live for what you've done in the past. The past is the past. You can't change it. So why always go back? Well, I used to do this, or I need to do that, or whatever. The past is the past. Live for now. Thank God for what you have now. Thank Him for what He's going to give you in the future, and then don't worry about what happened in the past.
Yeah, life is living now.
Right.
right? That's what it is now. You had a situation where you got injured and couldn't be on the level that you were on before, and I'm sure that was not easy. Talk about somebody who might be living a life or working a profession or something that it wasn't what they thought they would be, but it's where they are right now.
Absolutely. Well, my example is going to be an example of failure. So I view being forced out of the sport because of injury as a personal failure. And it was not diagnosed at the time, but I'd be willing to bet you I'd fallen into some level of depression. I put away all of my medals, trophies, boxed them up, actually kind of banned people from even talking to me about gymnastics, and just didn't want to see the sport. And I did that for several years until I was graduating from college and going through interviews, and they tell me about a time when, and all of my examples of leadership, of overcoming obstacles, they all were gymnastics. And it was at that point that I realized that the great part of who I am, I had been suppressing mentally and not learning from it for those few years because I was depressed about it. And I use an example of athletes a lot who I've helped transition, is that you almost have to grow through the pain and understand that they know athlete person. You have to be Jay-Z, allow me to reintroduce myself, because now you have to show them the new person, and you can't be afraid to grow through it. But that greatness that you were, that team rep, that Super Bowl champ, that is still who you are, but parlay that into that next thing. You can't put it to the side. You can't always expect to be that person to other people. The fans are going to want to see it because that's the only thing that you show. So now be bold enough to show them the new person of who you are. And it is a difficult transition. They think they need to be the person that picks up the tab. They think the fans, the public wants to see them always drive the biggest car, the most expensive car, wearing the most jewelry. I'm like, the public consumes what you give them. So reintroduce yourself and give them the new version of yourself.
Yeah, I like that. If you could be the commissioner of the NFL right now, what would you change first?
Well, first thing I would change is the player safety policy. Number one. Number two, I will have longer contracts for players, guaranteed contracts for players, because it's a players' league.
True.
Number three,
I will for the coaches or the owners.
Right. And number three, I will have an owner at least have some type of give back to the community, not the my 2% give back. Whatever, let's say he made $500,000 on his game alone, and give at least 1/4 back to a community of where you're at. And not just some organization that your friend worked at.
Come on.
But organization where there is a need. Give back to the community that is in need. Like Shape, who's right here in Houston.
Shape Community Center, been here forever.
Give back to the mega churches. You don't want to have all these mega churches. Give back to the church that's not a mega church. Someone like that.
He finna make me shout. and hand him our address to Cullen Missionary Baptist Church on the corner of Cullen and Alameda Genoa. Boy, I felt that in my belly. I am with you. If you were over the Olympic gymnastics, just the U.S. gymnastics committee, with all that they have gone through, seeing Simone and all them ladies sitting in that courtroom, or in front of Congress, I should say, and just reliving that all over again, what would you do differently with that sport?
Well, the protocol would most certainly change. There would never be a circumstance where a gymnast would be by herself. She would always, in the legal world, as the guardian ad litem for a child. So there would be, if the gymnast didn't have a parent or a coach that could physically be there, there would have to be that rep that would need to be in the room to protect them from anything that could happen. So that would most definitely change. But I will say this about gymnastics. We see Simone Biles, and I love seeing her face. I love seeing more people of color in the sport so that it appears to be more inclusive. But what people don't see is the cameras are never on the judges, and the judges themselves, it's never a diverse pool of judges.
Yeah.
And I think that makes a difference in judging. I think it makes a difference in perception. A more muscular gymnast is perceived as not as graceful looking than a thinner build gymnast.
Okay.
And you'll see more gymnasts of color have a more muscular build. And so there are some micro inequities and microaggressions kind of built into
She just said
the sport.
something.
Right.
Micro inequities.
Built into the sport. So I would be focusing on the composition of the judges to make sure that they are more diverse so that the judging becomes more fair.
I like it. I like it because, like you said, you looked at an area that most people don't even see and realize that there's some things going on over there that affects the entire sport.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all, we get ready to do rapid fire. Jen, you in this too. I'm gonna give you the team. You tell me who's gonna win. This week we do a thing called Lunch Break Weekly, Keeping Up with the Joneses Pick'em Challenge.
Okay.
I'm the Jones, and I've been killing them, man. I've been killing them. Except there was a dude that was 15-1 this week. I don't know where you got that from. But anyway, all right, here we go. Texans and Bills. Who you got? Bills. Texans and Bills. Who you got?
Bills.
Panthers at Cowboys. Who you got?
You gotta go for it.
You got it.
You gonna pick everything.
Yeah. I like how you did that, Chris. Come on, Jen. Who you got?
Panthers at the Cowboys.
Yep.
Cowboys.
I was gonna say I know who you think it is.
I'm a East Rose fan. Straight like that.
Chris, who you got? Wow. Colts at Dolphins. Chris, who you got? Colts. Jen?
I would say Colts.
Some Dolphins at home. All right. Jen, Giants at Saints. Who you got? Saints. Chris, Titans at Jets. Who you got? Titans. Who you got?
I would love to say Jets, but it's Titans.
I want Robin to do better, but anyway, yeah, Titans. Jen, football team, Washington football team at Falcons. Who you got? That's his whole team.
I would say Falcons.
Washington. Lions at the Bears. Chris, who you got? The Bears. Jen.
At the Bears.
Lions got to win one eventually. All right. Big game. The Browns at the Vikings. Jen, who you have?
I'm going with Vikings.
Chris?
Well, for my brother who's a huge, and my brother-in-law who's a huge Browns fan, is Browns and Vikings. I'm going to Vikings.
All right. All right. Chiefs at the Eagles.
Chiefs.
Cardinals at the Rams. Jen?
Cardinals.
Chris?
Rams.
Seahawks at the 49ers.
Y'all gonna see on that game.
Seahawks at the 49ers.
Seahawks.
I want the Seahawks with 49ers. Ravens at the Broncos. Jen?
Ravens.
Steelers at the Packers. Chris?
Steelers.
Packers. Buccaneers at the Patriots. Jen? The man ain't calling Tom Brady by his name. Now. Come on now. Come on, Bucks.
Yeah,
All right, Bucks. And then Raiders, Chargers. Chargers. All right, y'all. We got to get ready to go. Chris, thank you. Jen, thank you. Man, this was a lot of fun. Y'all, this is one of my favorites. So y'all lock it in. We got to get ready to go. Sybil Wilkes is up next. And nope, we're going straight to Donnie McClurkin with the Donnie McClurkin Show. As always, let's not be divided. Let's be united. Y'all be safe. Much success over at IMG. Much success in everything you do. So as always, y'all, we'll talk to you later. Y'all, two of the best of the best of the best of the best. So y'all share this show, y'all save it, and y'all follow. Jen, tell everybody where they can find you and follow you.
At Jen Thibeaux everywhere, or Thibeaux.org. But also you can find me at GoatSkills.com. GoatSkills.com. I want to get that out today. Chris, how about you, man? Where can they follow you and find you?
GoatSkills.com.
Yep.
And Dishman_Cris is doing himself big social media guy.
Yeah, but man, those clips that you put up of your son, that touchdown run was quick, but that closing speed on those passes, brother, he's serious. Yeah, I love it. All right, y'all. They're two of the best. Be sure to follow them. Be sure and keep up with what they're doing. And you never know when we'll have them back. As always, not divided, definitely united. Y'all be blessed. We'll talk to you on Monday.